Hello everyone and welcome back to another painting tutorial. Today I'm going to go a bit further and show you how to make some custom flames for your flamethrower. We're going to take this 3D printed sculpt from Scavenger Miniatures. We're going to paint them up real nice, and we're going to add some hot glue to a piece of wire and adhere it to the barrel tip, and presto, we've got a fully functioning flamethrower. Special thank you to Jason at Scavenger Miniatures for sending over this figure, as well as a bunch of others. Everything you see me using in this video, I'll put links to the description with names and where you can buy it using my affiliate links. Please like the video if you have not already, and consider subscribing to the channel because that will help it grow and it tells me that you want to see more of this type of content. Now let's get started with the painting tutorial. Because this is a 3D printed sculpt and it came pre-cleaned, I didn't have to do any cleanup, so that's very cool. I took the miniature outside and spray painted it with a bit of Vallejo black primer. This is a spray can primer. You can also use brush-on primer, it works just as well. I like to prime all my miniatures first so that the acrylic has something to stick to rather than painting directly on resin or bare plastic. This will also help the paint last longer and will be much more resilient when you're handling it long term. The very first thing I did was lay down a base layer of beige red. I will often apply several thin coats as a base layer to ensure that I'm getting equal and consistent coverage over the entire surface area. One of the best pieces of advice that I can give anyone looking to improve their miniature painting is to practice thinning your paints. Out of the bottle, most acrylic paint is too thick to apply without first mixing it with water or some sort of acrylic medium. Acrylics are water-based paints, so unlike oils, they begin to dry as soon as they hit the air. You can make them last longer during each paint session by using a wet palette. I use this one by Army Painter, but there are a lot of different ones out there on the market, and they're actually pretty cheap to make yourself. Once the beige red is applied evenly, I go in with a touch of natural gray and black to sketch out the eye placement. I'll come back and refine this later. Next, I mixed water with a bit of burnt red to a very thinned down consistency and applied it over the face and hands. The idea here is that the water will naturally pool into the recesses of the facial features and the fingers and create dark shadows. This is commonly referred to as a wash. I then went back over the raised areas of the cheekbones and the fingers with a bit more beige red to bring back some of that contrast I started to lose from the red color of the wash, while also trying to maintain that same reddish tint from the burnt red color. Now it's time to add a bit of gritty realism to the figure by painting on a 5 o'clock shadow. To create the appearance of stubble rather than a fully grown beard, I mixed the beige red together with a bit of that natural gray from earlier until the tone was cool enough that it gave the look of a battle-worn complexion. I think that's looking pretty good, and at this point I decided it was time to begin blocking out the colors of the rest of the figure. I used charred brown for the base layer of the pants, barbarian skin for the base layer of the jacket, and US olive green for the base layer of everything that wasn't meant to be leather, like the boots or the gun holster. I used a 1-to-1 mix of cream white and barbarian skin to bring up the highlights of the jacket, carefully applying it to the raised folds of the fabric. I used burnt red for the base layer of the gun holster and the boots. Then I mixed in a bit of red leather and leather brown around the folds of the fabric to create a subtle weathered texture. I used US Field Drab to create highlights for the pants, then mixed in a bit of charred brown to create the subtle midtone. For added grit and weathering, I used umber and black washes on areas of the figure that are looking a little too clean and flat. To create the flame effect, I'm going to experiment with sculpting hot glue over a piece of thin metal wire. In a previous short that I shared on the channel, I actually used this same technique, but instead of using hot glue, I wrapped the wire with a bit of cotton and painted that. I began by dry fitting a piece of wire into the aperture of the gun barrel, which was already conveniently hollow and saved a lot of crafting time. I held the wire at approximately 45 degrees and let the glue drip down the length of the wire, giving it time to cool down before I then built up additional layers. I then went in with my tweezers and began to pull up into these little peaks to create the effect of a flame. After a few minutes, I was pretty comfortable sculpting with the hot glue and decided to clip off the excess metal and fit it into the gun barrel. From there, it was just a matter of building up additional volumes of hot glue and continuing to build up those peaks with the tweezers. Here's a quick little look at the final result before I begin painting. To paint the flames, I used a few colors from Army Painter's line of speed paints. I worked my way up from yellow to orange to red and then finally mixed in a bit of black towards the tip of the gun where the fire would be burning off the fastest. I gave the speed paint some time to dry before applying a second coat and glued the flames into the barrel of the gun using my favorite glue, PR40. I applied another layer of speed paint over all of the flames and then went in with a bit of opaque black acrylic on the end to ensure that the light wouldn't shine through as much in those darker parts. I decided to use a grelin earth to create a dry, cracked texture for the base. The trick to using this technical paint is to glob it on pretty good so that it dries and creates these big cracks on the base. If you do it too thin, you won't get the same effect. You really need to be generous with the application. Once the technical paint was dry, I glued on a couple of these dead-looking tufts and the look was complete. He was ready to go. That's the end of the video, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and remember to share this with your dad. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Take care.